NPL fans. My name is NoPunIntended, and welcome to coverage of Week 4 of the Pick'em Show for the Majors. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, then please make sure to leave a like or a comment on the video. I'm sure I and everyone in the NPL would very much appreciate it. But finally, I am joined by my usual co-host, Kate. I'd be proud to introduce you to the person who's going to be helping me in covering all 8 games for Week 4. It's Narth.
What's going on, NPL fans? My name is NarthVader, and it's good to be back. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Noah. He's recorded both the previous 2 videos without me. I really do appreciate it, but I'm back now, and hopefully we can have a good pick on this video this week.
Alright, it's good to have you back around. We actually did record a video for Week 1, but it never got up on the channel, so this is technically gonna be the first time that you guys are hearing from Narth, and I'm certainly happy to not have to do all the heavy lifting for this video. So, that being said, let's get on into the results for Week 3.
Alright, so here we are with the Week 3 results for the NPL Majors, and as you can see, most of the analysts did about the same as the fans, where they mostly got the same matches wrong, being the FC Poplio versus the Sydney Sharpedos, with the FC Poplio winning out, and the Houston Soul Rockets and the San Francisco Reggie Giants, with the Houston Soul Rockets winning out. But for the most part, the analysts and the fans are pretty much even, with a couple of the analysts not doing too well. But that pretty much wraps up the Week 3 results for Pick'ems.
Yeah, and most of the people that got their locks wrong ended up picking Gypsy and Sydney Sharpedos over the FC Poplio. It certainly wasn't an easy game to predict there, just because Gypsy was 2-0. He's the guy in the NPL, at least in terms of people considering who's the best in the league. So it definitely was a bit of a surprising result, but Turbo is apparently a psychic when it comes to those kind of games. So I guess that's now that we are done recapping Week 3, let's get into the 4 slate. So, starting things off, we have the newest coach in the National Football League, the elite Rizzy Powell, and his Phoenix Sun Flora filling in for Everport, and in his first game, he's going to be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. So this game is definitely one of intrigue, just because of the fact that marks the start of Rizzy. And his first challenge, which he's chosen to accept, is to take on Blake. Now, having not seen much of Rizzy's playstyle over the past few seasons, I was looking at on-by-on matchups, and Blake's Vader versus the Pokemon is such a well-balanced Pokemon, it can take out any of Rizzy's threats depending on what set Blake decides to play. An AB set with Wall, Roto-Trade, and Megaladios, Bandit sets Crush, Relax, and Bonzon. You can even run something like Grass on State, this is being smaller. Also, I see Mew as a nice Pokemon in the matchup, as it has the potential to beat Tyranitar despite its dark weakness, and offensive set can really take advantage of shared weaknesses on Rizzy's team. Plus, I also took into account the fact that Rizzy's technically coming out of retirement, so he what do you think about this game, Narth?
Well, first off, I'm pretty excited to see Riz back. It's definitely one of the coaches I enjoy looking at. I did decide to pick Riz over Blake. One reason was, if you take a look at their history, Riz did beat Blake in the semifinals last season. But most importantly, I feel like the matchup is pretty even for the most part, but I feel like Riz does have an edge due to the fact that Blake really has a tough time beating Megaladios. Mew kind of struggles against it, as it does lose to some variants of Mew do lose to a Calm Mind variant. I guess Crocodile's nice, but it kind of drops to a Draco Meteor. There's Metagross, but some variants get too killed by Shadow Ball. I feel like Megaladios is a really good Pokemon overall against Blake, and he has the right Pokemon to support it. And really, I feel like Riz can just edge Blake out in this matchup.
Yeah, one of the things I've learned is that Megaladios, if you have a good coach, is very difficult. But, of course, you have to prep very well for it to do what it's capable of. Anyway, let's move on to our next game. Montreal Absols and Astro J taking on the San Francisco Reggie Giants, coached by Mr. Murkrow. Narth, who do you have this game?
In this game, I decided to go with Aster and the Montreal Habsels over Mr. Murkrow and the San Francisco Reggie Giants. This is the terrain wars pretty much because Tapu Koko and Tapu Lele are going to clash against each other in this matchup, which is pretty cool. But I really feel like Astra's offense does match up better than Merc's offense. Does exceptionally well against him, as it is able to pack coverage for everything on his roster. As a Mega Aerodactyl as well can really help weaken things down for Coco to clean up. Um, I feel like Diggersby's pretty nice as well. Just those three together give Merc a really tough time. Um, but what do you think, Noah?
Basically, the first thing I do whenever I look at the Reggie Giants is check his opponent's matchup with Tapu Lele. Because when drafting, I can't imagine that a lot of these teams necessarily took Tapu Lele into account just because it's a Bonnie Young situation. And in Astra's case, his Lele matchup doesn't look good, to put it nicely. Both of his skills are 4 times each in Power Fire, and nothing else on his team really appreciates the combination of last and pick. On the other hand, it makes sense that Astra's Tapu Koko also matches up well against Merc, and to get a U-turn on Dub Trio boring, the Dub Trio being quick turns. Actually, this game might be one of the rare times where it makes sense for a start with Dub Trio. But I think the biggest advantage for Merc is that Astra has such a pivot-heavy setup team. But Merc has an Alamo Mola and an Umbreon. Two of the biggest annoyances. I think Merc will be able to pick between those fat guys, and Astra will just get chipped and chipped and chipped and chipped. That's why I picked the Reggie Giants. Anywho, on to game 3, we have the Los Angeles Gator Kings and the FC Updale. This seems like one of those games where Dance's Victini can actually do something. There's not a lot of matchups for Victini himself. He doesn't fare very well against fat walls that can hit cap. But Storm and Crest don't really qualify for that. They don't have attacks that can really damage Victini that much. So if Danza goes physical and is able to wear down David's Donphan, then he's going to have a fun time with Victini. Let's also not forget that David's team is the draft league equivalent of balance, and Danza has loads of balance breakers from Landorus Eye to Mammoth Line to So I guess the Storm Press Corps is going to see some heavy lifting for David, but it's going to be some really heavy lifting. I think David's team gets broken apart once again. Dan is definitely creative enough to find holes in some kind of a roster like that, and so I picked the Neo Kings for the 3rd straight. But yeah, Narth, what do you think about this?
Similar to what you said, I think Victini is an excellent matchup. I feel like a special variant is better in my opinion. More along the lines of 3 attacks toxic variant for like Crusade. I think Psychic, Blue Flare, U-turn toxic is pretty nice against him. Danza has a lot going for him in this matchup. Tornadus Therian is decently nice as it can taunt a lot of David's fatter mons. Sureforce Landorus Incarnate does break through some of his walls, and I really do feel like Danza has been playing it well. He's been doing well with this team, and I really feel like the matchup is good for him. So I really do feel like Danza right now is doing pretty nicely, while David, I feel like to a more balanced draft over against Danza's hyper offensive team, I don't think it's going to do too well. So that's kind of why I picked Danza over David.
It's just kind of the same idea that I get it. We all, it's kind of the map. It's the just how you look at the rosters, whatever, and people can take the same sort of way. Anyway, let's go to our next game. We're going to the Houston Soul Rockets, coached by Adam, against the Houston Toxic Vepsis, coached by Trev. What are your thoughts?
Well, so this matchup was definitely very interesting. Let's see here. Both coaches have been doing all right, and if you take a look at it, both have mons that do well against each other. But I feel like overall, Adam's team does match up a little bit better. Blacephalon does very, very nicely against Trev's team, though he would have to be cautious of something like Scarf to Lowland Persian or Sticky Webs from Slurpuff, or like some kind of Scarfer, or maybe like Sucker Punch from Mega Mawile. But I really feel like overall Blacephalon really turns the match around in Adam's favor. Along with that, Adam has Megalopony and Dragonite to break through for Blacephalon to clean up late game. Sure, this Trev is a Mega Mawile, but Adam has responses to that. And overall, I feel like Adam should be able to take the win this week.
Yeah, I can definitely see the argument for the Soul Rockets. I have been one of the most frequent pickers of them, at least in terms of the analyst team. When looking at the results of their previous games, it seems like the Battle of Houston should be easy to predict. If not for a paralysis-heavy Week 1 loss, Adam would be undefeated. And if not for a Haxie victory in Week 2, Trev would be winless. So it seems like the Soul Rockets should dominate this game. But not so fast, my friend. I'm actually a big fan of Trev and Bergman. Yeah, I know it gives superior special attack with the party shot. That's not the point. The big thing is that it activates both Surf and Step 1 and forces switches. If Trev can predict how to do this, he can bring in his breakers, like being a Telio without taking a lot of damage. And the mods that add the Surf switch in, at least based on type matchups, don't like taking foul play damage from the person. Will Adam be done in by one of his favorite ones? I don't know, but that's not the only one Trev has. Unicorns can pivot in on repeated attacks, throw a toxic on a power on a second on toxic effects, and just use Regenerator to keep himself healthy. Pilot Swine is also very annoying to have to switch into as well. So, for those reasons, I'm going to go with the upset here and take the toxic effects of the two games. But moving on to our fifth game, we have Bird's Tampa Bay Froggiers and Aces Bases Anaheim Altarias. I look at Bird's offense and I'm just like, okay, Mega Man Yancey gets checked by Size Matone and 400. He's got a couple of choices there. Hydreigon gets checked by Size Matone and 400. Yes. Revenge from those Bases offense. Anyway, Vanguard gets hard countered by Wolf. And don't tell me the Horus Vanguard will stop it. You think Ace cares about Steve? Yeah. So, downplaying the new guy, stuffed by Size Matone and 400. He's set up SE in order to get kills against one like YS and Togekiss. I've looked at Bird's offense and I don't see how he really gets much off the ground. I'm about as confident in this game for Ace than I have been for any individual game he's played to this point. And it probably would have been my lock, but there's another game I feel a bit more confident in. But Narth, why don't you let us know your thoughts on this game?
I agree with everything you've said. I think Ace has a wonderful matchup against Bird. I really think Ace has the cards and the skill in order to win this matchup. If you take a look at Mega Gallade against Bird's team, I think a bulk up variant is pretty nice against Talonflame. If you take a look at it, Mega Yancey drops to close combat, though he would have to be cautious of speed ties. Hydreigon drops to close combat, Gengar drops to potential Shadow Sneak or Knockoff, and Crossman takes a lot from Knockoff after some chip. Glasgow would take damage from Ice Punch, Ferrothorn drops to CC, Xurkitree drops to CC. Talonflame would probably be the big issue, but after Rocks and maybe a couple bulk up boosts, I think he'd be taken care of, as Ace's team does have ways around it, and overall I feel like Ace does have the matchup, which is why I'm going to pick him over Bird this week.
Totally agree with you. Alright, let's go on to game number 6. This is the battle between Donkey, Cincinnati Slifer, and Chief Boys Phoenix Sunfire. And it's common knowledge this is going to be Dan's last game in the NPL, at least for the time being. Do you think, Narth, there's any possible?
Pardon, I didn't catch you there.
So our next game is going to be between Indomiti, Cincinnati Slifer Reds, and Cheese Phoenix Sunfern. Now, it's no secret anymore that this is going to be Dan's last game in the NPL, at least for the time being. So with that in mind, do you think there's any possible way that he can win this game?
I do have confidence in Dan's playing ability, and I do think he can pick up the win, but as of right now, I don't think Dan's really in a position to where he can successfully like be in a winning attitude, and I really feel like Cheese's matchup and aggressive playing style can really overwhelm Dan in order for Cheese to win, and that's why he's my lock this week. So something like
offense going against other teams that just seem to have more against him. I'm not ashamed to say for this game I'm locking Cheese strictly because of the situation going on with the Slifer Reds. If you had an opportunity to fade a coach who lost his enthusiasm for competitive Pokemon, you'd probably do it too. I've seen plenty of people whose interest in monsters dissipated over a period of time, and if they do play, they typically don't give it their all. Sorry, Dan, I love you a lot, but you really seem to have lost that competitive fire you used to have. Even though this is the first time I picked Cheese all season, I just can't imagine the Slifer Reds winning under these circumstances. I locked the Sunfern, and that's really the only reason I need to justify that decision. That game really wasn't much fun to talk about. Let's go to a game that's probably going to be a bit more exciting. Gypsy Kings, Sydney Sharpedos, and Matty Brawl's Los Angeles Fresh Pens. This, I definitely would call it one of the most stalwart rivalries in the NPL. These two coaches are usually quite evenly matched in terms of skill. Matty actually has won 2 out of the 3 games played in this series to date, so he does have a good chance to pin down Gypsy once again. However, I don't think it happens this time. Matty's team is just asking him to run down the entire game. Slash defensively checks a lot of his team. Mandibus defensively checks a lot of his team. Hell, I'd even say a mod like Garchon can check a lot of his team and apply some huge offensive pressure at the same time. The only way that Matty, I think, can ease the momentum against Gypsy is if you can get a mod like Swallow out, which will certainly be tough because, once again, Slash and Mandibus are bonds in Gypsy. I really look forward to this game, but it's going to be tough to bet against Gypsy. His strategies rarely fail. Without McGearna, Matty will need to play perfect to get the victory, and because of that, odds are against him. What are your thoughts on this game?
I do agree with some stuff you said. And if you take a look at the matchup, Garchomp does exceptionally well. If you get rid of some of the potential Scarfers, and if you get rid of things that can revenge it, such as Raikou and Swallow, which Gypsy does have some defensive checks to it, being Aegislash and Nihilego for Swallow. I really feel like a Sword Stance Garchomp with Giant Claw, Earthquake, and Stone Edge for Lapras, which actually can come. I think Garchomp can really open the path for Gypsy to win, and Gypsy really has a lot of defensive checks to a good majority of Matty's offense, and I really feel like Gypsy can take the match this time over Matty.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really clarify why I felt it was such a great rivalry game. I mean, it's a battle between the owner of the sexiest voice in the NPL and the owner of the sexiest upper body. So that's why I'm really excited for it. But we got one more game to talk about. It's Rob Jr.'s Gotham City Go-Works taking on Regulator's Los Angeles Fable. NarthVader, let us know your thoughts on it.
Okay, so for this matchup, it's a pretty good matchup. I'm actually most excited for this one, just because it's two great coaches and two coaches that I've gotten to know a little bit, and overall I'd say the matchup's pretty even. Both struggle against certain things. Obviously, Rob struggles against the evident Landorus theory and Megachar's X. Struggles against Weavile quite a bit, as Weavile just does a lot to his team. Really. Greg does have the Scizor, but for Scizor being, or just mainly just like a Loris Skuntank or a Cofagrigus, he just possesses a lot of fire coverage on his team, and I really think overall, I think combined with Rob's playing ability, that Rob can adapt to his matchup, can really overwhelm Greg, and that's why I'm going to pick Rob and the Gotham City Go-Works over Greg. Fables.
Yeah, Rob may have the quietest 3-0 start that I've ever seen in Draft League, but he's quickly establishing himself as a huge threat to other teams, much like his Gyarados is to Greg's team. Zing! Yeah, a Z-move Gyarados could easily get a sweep going, in my opinion, provided Greg doesn't get a sweep first. The tricky part for Greg is that many of his setup sweepers have problem with Rob's Tangrowth Slowbro Regenerator core, but that could make Scolipede hugely important for LA. You go with a set like Megahorn, Stone Edge, Earthquake alongside Swords Dance. Obviously, this is going to depend on what mons Rob specifically brings and whether or not Greg misses his attacks. Now, the fact I'm saying all this is evidence that Rob's team is just a little bit more reliable than Greg's. It doesn't need to worry about missing attacks to win. That's 2 instances of consistency I've talked about, being consistent at winning, being consistent at hitting moves, but he also needs to be consistent at prepping exactly as necessary. I just think the odds are a bit too much against Greg, and that's why I chose Rob to win. But that is going to do it for Week 4 Pick'ems. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please check the description of this video to get links to all the coaches' channels in the description. And I don't know if the analyst channels are also there. We may have updated it by this point. We may not have. But if you could check them out as well, I'm sure we'd all be very happy to see our view counts go up. But that's going to do it for me. Narth, you have anything you want to say?
No, you just pretty much said everything, but I'm glad to be back and doing the heavy lifting after the last 2 weeks. Really do appreciate it. No,
That's no problem on my end anyway. But that is going to do it. Please make sure to react however you so feel like it. Until we see you next time, take care.